welcome back to my channel, welcome back to me, welcome back to True Blue Thai. How are you doing today? Welcome back to Thailand. And if you're like me, a Man City fan, for instance, you're not particularly happy today, for instance, because of what happened yesterday. Am I downhearted and depressed and down? Yes, result. But for instance, again, I'll always be proud and happy to be a Blue, for instance, and I just say it's a setback rather than anything else. I'm not overlooking it this as a major disaster. I'm not asking for pep out, as I've seen so many Blues. And I put you in inverted commas because, quite honestly, for instance, I think you need to look at yourself. If you sat there saying pep out, and if you're saying that today, for instance, I think you and I should never meet. Because quite honestly, for instance, I don't think it'll work out well for you because I have zero respect for any person who says pep out today. It is a result, and you win some and you lose some, but you get back on the horse and then crack on. This is a long ass season. It doesn't end to yesterday. And I've still got a long way to go. And for instance, can we get to our achievement this year? It's probably top four. I'm 100% certain we will. Right now, listen. I could go here and what's it called? You've got to go onto all the channels, and I'm going to sit there and talk about, in each and every player, for instance, and how badly they were, and all this kind of thing. And I was all prepared to do that, and I thought to myself, well, no, because quite honestly, I remember the Chelsea game and the Bruges game, and how the collective of the football players came together, for instance, when we won the game. And I feel confident and strong in the fact to say that what's the goal? I think it was the collective of the team yesterday that didn't play particularly well. So you can sit there and nitpick at each and every player of what's it called of what we chosen. But for instance, if when the teams were announced, I was on different channels. Typical City, GRCG, LB's channel, for instance, and not one person was moaning about the squad because they said, okay, it was good, blah, blah, blah. For instance, they were not particular, they would love to have preferred the likes of Diaz or Rodri, blah, 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 but unfortunately that's not the case. And the only surprise was Kevin De Bruyne being dropped, but also, for instance, with Phil Foden being in form, it was a certain degree of, okay, fair enough, okay, and nobody was complaining about it. Okay. At the end of it, for instance, and we could sit there and nitpick and say, well, about this player and that player, but nobody really came out with a massive shine. Sabino maybe a little bit, but other than that, for instance, it was a bit of a car show, really. It wasn't going to have a car wreck. But at the end of the day, because the last 15, 20 minutes, for instance, for instance, we conceded goals, we lost our minds. And one of the reasons why and I will say this, is because, quite honestly, for instance, our foundations of the football team were not there, for instance. And so for instance, and it kind of like it showed in the what's it called in not for instance in the control of the game, because we lost control of the game to Arsenal. Now, let me just put this to one side. Let me just talk about Arsenal for 1 second. Arsenal today played very well. They attacked every level of the red. They were running them, forcing Mighty, okay, succeeded, and they won fair and square. They think Arsenal are business of called emotional team. Crosses are bitter for me. What they do when they hounded the referee, for instance, because he sent off one of their players, and he wasn't helped by the media, the likes of TalkSport and Sky Sports and blah, blah, blah. The media, whatever, the referee shouldn't have sent this guy off. So this guy, he's got hounded, and his family got hounded, and he got death threats, etc., because he sent one of their players off. This crying of, oh, we've had, what's it called? Oh, we have it such bad. Oh, we have Man City referees. I've seen it, listened to it on Talk Crap, etc. For instance, oh, he's a referee, that guy. Yeah, he's a Man City fan, that guy, referee. Giving it the old woe is me. Everybody's against us, that kind of thing. And this is what Arsenal come across. When when Arsenal scored the first goal, the reaction of Gabriel to Erling Haaland was pathetic. And it just shows you, even though Pep just put the whole thing to one side. No, these are not a petulant. There's nothing bad. There's no rivalry. I've got great respect for Mikel Arteta. No, what's it called? The Arsenal showed yesterday, for instance, what a petulant club they are, and a childish club at that. Now, it's just disappointing for me because, quite honestly, when I was a kid growing up, for instance, one of my second favourite clubs was Arsenal. I had no worries. I lived in Denmark for 10 years, and in Denmark, while I was there, I used to go to a pub called the Southern Cross. It was an Australian pub, etc., but it was the official, what's it called, official home of the Scandinavian football club for Arsenal. And so for instance, in every Arsenal game, and I used to go in there in a Man City top. Granted, we were in for instance, we weren't where we are now. And for instance, and they allowed me in there. The United fans, no, you had to go to the John Bull next day. Next door, no chance. The United fans not coming in. Liverpool fans, no, forget it. Man City, me, yeah, no worries. I even sat there in a game against Arsenal, like that, cheering for City, blah blah blah, and nobody had any problems with it. The fact is, what's it called? And there used to be a lot of Arsenal fans there, really decent guys, proper Arsenal lovers, and we used to sit there and have great conversations with each other, for instance, and good lads to have a drink with. And also, as a fan growing up, etc., for instance, we've had players from Arsenal, Niall Quinn, what's it called, Patrick Vieira, for instance, Sami Nasri, and etc., etc. What's it called, Gail Clichy, and for instance, and Adebayor, whatever. Okay, so for instance, I've also had that affection towards Arsenal because of that over like Spurs or Chelsea, for instance. Spurs I've always hated; those have been my second hated club, and what's it called? And Chelsea I've never really liked either. So what's it called? But what's it called? Arsenal, So, but now I'm getting to a point where I'm getting a little bit about them, And so, quite honestly, for instance, between Liverpool, even though I'm not the greatest fan of Liverpool and Liverpool fans smashing up Man City's coach, I still don't have that. I'm getting to the fact that, for instance, I'm quite happy to have Liverpool winning the Premier League title than over Arsenal because I think, for instance, they'll milk it too much. I know Liverpool will really, really go on a bender for this, etc. But I think Arsenal will, because it's the London club and it's the London media and everything's around London. I think, for instance, it'll be overblown too much. For instance, if they want it, so I'm quite happy, for instance, Liverpool to win the Premier League. Not as far as if anybody. What's it called? Other than that, Liverpool, for instance, over Arsenal, because they've become a little bit too childish for me, a bit too petulant, a bit too ridiculous, for instance, and the way they act and they put themselves about, and crying all the time, for instance, and going on AFTV and disgusting, terrible, and how the fans call out the players so much. He's crap, whatever. And I've got no problem about criticising a player as long as you have an excuse to criticise them. Saying he's right. What is the solution? It's all right bitching and whining about somebody and complaining. What's your solution? What are you going to do? You can't just say him out. You'll have no bloody players. What are you going to do? All right, we need to bring in. But who? What? What is your design? Because quite honestly, for instance, Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Uber Amarin will all sit there and go, well, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Okay, it's all right, easy, so simple to write on a thing, him out, get him out, get him out. It is ridiculous to sit there and write somebody, Pep out. Who is your replacement for Pep? Who are you going to put right now, the 3rd of February 2025, who the hell are you going to put in replace of Pep if you want Pep out? Who's there? Just pathetic. Pathetic. Weakness. Weak. It comes across as weak. And when I see fans criticising and bawling and whining about certain players, and then the next week, when they score, oh, hey. For instance, it's just, oh, God. I've been following this football club since 1970. 1974 was my first football game. Main Road. Right? 1974. So, for instance, I'm sorry, and I've seen ups and very lot of downs. Okay? But I've also seen a lot of ups as well, But this right now is our best time, regardless. Even though it's a drop off of a season, right? which has been highlighted in the media and every person who is a hater of Man City, and it's pure and simple because they're jealous. Simple as that. Nothing else other than jealousy. So the fact that when Man City do have a result, even though United are in the 13th position, this biggest club in the world, right? This biggest club who's going to get this 100,000 seater stadium, who's getting this grant to redo Trafford. Okay, let's have a go at Manchester City. You know why? It's because Man City have been winning 4 in a row, and now and to see us drop off, it's like, yay! Because they can't just talk about 115 anymore, because they can talk about something on the club because they're bitter. Because all they do is see Man City winning. Okay, and their club's not winning, and now they're bitter. So it comes across. And Arsenal, yesterday, are showing what a bitter, spoiled, childish club they are, because of, and I don't know if it's Arteta who's putting the seed in. It's the watching Manchester City win all the time. So Lewis beating Man City 5-1 yesterday, but all the petulance in them. This thing about let's take the piss out of Haaland because of that. This young kid, good as a footballer he is, needs to show some humility and respect for Erling Haaland and stop thinking that he's the bee's knees just because he's had a good game. Okay, it's when you can do it season after season, game after game, and just doing it a few games, whatever, and taking the actual mickey out of somebody, for instance, doesn't make you a man, right? That you're not in the stable of Erling Haaland. So show a bit of humility and respect, will you? Okay. But as far as I'm concerned, yes. So we could go through the lineup, for instance, and say like who had a good game and who had a bad game, but I think collectively, because we don't have our lieutenants, our captains, okay, in the squad, and then when I'm talking about our captains, I'm talking the likes of in the defence, Diaz, crucial to Man City. Man City have Diaz and we win. Okay, we'll have one without him, but he's a linchpin. And what he is, a captain. He's the Man City captain, even though Kevin De Bruyne has got it. All this fans want Ruben Diaz to be Man City's captain because he steadies the ship. He dictates, you go here, you go here, you go here. Akanji, Stones, Guardiola, and Aki, great players as they are. Maybe Stones, maybe not. Okay, what's it called? In the same vein as what I'm saying. But they're lieutenants. They're soldiers. They need to be dictated. Look, God, they're not bad players. They're very good players. Guardiola's been impressive this season. He's got more goals than that stupid Hoyland. At United and some other so-called strikers this season, right? And he's a left back or he's a centre back. Okay, but the fact is, if Diaz would have been there, things wouldn't have been as bad as what the scoreline suggested. Nunes is not a midfielder. A defender. He's a midfielder, right? So you put in a guy, and he's been asked to play, and he said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it." So he wants to play, and he wants to play for the team, just like whatever. And he's not a defender, and he's showing, right? Sometimes in the last game, etc., he had a very good game, but for instance, this one, he didn't. But overall, we can't complain. Kevin De Bruyne was interviewed just a while ago, and I've said this on my channel here. Kevin De Bruyne was asked about Manchester City, for instance, why was some playing well, and he says, "Yeah, the players are playing in the right positions now." Simple. If you're a midfielder and you've been asked to play defence, etc., you're kind of like saying, "What? That's not my position." So we can cook in, but we can't. Everybody had a go at Kuzinov last week, for instance. Oh, he was, and he can't speak English, and it was terrible for him, and putting in so young, and he was cast as 18 years old, even though he's 20, and oh my God, everybody had a go because he's having a go at Man City time. What can we pick at City today? Kuzinov, how dare you put this guy in? Oh, disgusting, whatever. And then Akanji makes a mistake, which leads to a goal, right? But he can speak English. He's been playing Man City forever. For a long time. He's one of the stalwarts at the back of our defence. But he made a mistake. Right. Just like Kuznetsov did. But it happens, and the problem is there was like I've said, like I've seen on what's it called. People have been talking about. I think Never a Fouls. Southstand was saying, if a striker or a midfielder makes a mistake, it's not that bad. But a defender, whatever, makes a mistake, then he can allow to a goal. And the fact is, what's it called? Unlike, for instance, and it's not the first time we've seen it this season. Phil Foden, what's it called? Give the ball away, for instance, and boom, he went to a, you know, what's it called? They scored from it. What's it called? Okay, deflected shot from John Stones. But other than the fact that it was goal scored, Kovacic is doing an amazing job in the CDM role. Amazing job. But unfortunately, for instance, he's covered against proper, CDMs like Declan Rice, etc. For instance, Odegaard, he's gonna struggle. So, for instance, Bernardo Silva all over the place. What's it called? But for instance, he's not playing that. For instance, and he can have a good game. Like the last game, he was man of the match, etc. For instance, with some others, against the Chelsea game. Sorry, rather than the Bruges. For instance, we fell short. Okay, we fell short because Arsenal played well. Omar Mamouche looked a little bit drowned it out. Mustn't go too much. He was kind of in his play. Savinio, for instance, was probably our only kind of bright spark, really. But again, for instance, he was against Arsenal, a good team. Tony Adams was interviewed on Man City TV before the game, and he was talking about how Arsenal have been decimated by injuries this season, like Man City. And he was saying, well, who have you got out so far? What's the goal? The guy that plays on the right. For instance, what was his name? No, I've got Savino on my head now. For instance, the guy, for instance, who's out at the moment, the only one player they've got out. What's it called? Their best player, for instance. Winger. Anyway, so for instance, he was the only one. How the hell can Arsenal talk about being devastated by injuries? What's it called? Where they've only got one player out. Okay, just it'll come to me in a second. But there you go. So Anna Haaland was swamped up front, etc., surrounded by two bitters, Timber and Gabriel, all the way through the game. So yeah, and people say, well, he only had 3 touches, he's only had 7. He only needs 1 to score. How many times have you listened to the same old shit from the media? Oh, what's it called? Haaland's only had 3 touches in the box. He only needs 1. Right? And in the beginning of the second half, etc., he got that touch and back of the net. This is what he does. Sometimes he doesn't. It's not what he does. When he runs, even though he doesn't touch the ball, if he whatever, if he runs out, he'll probably take 2 defenders with him, and that will leave space for Foden and etc. to move in. So it's not like the fact that he doesn't touch the ball. The fact it's movement and what he does in the ball, but he never gets seen that way. So no, I just. It was a collective disappointment, but I think without our captains in defence and in our team, it's going to be difficult. But in my eyes, what's it called? It's a setback. We're playing against a team, for instance, who's aiming for the top of the league, rather than United, who are back down to 13th. Playing a team who's in 12th at home and got beat. And I was watching 25 minutes, 30 minutes of their game, and they were garbage, absolute garbage. But they're going to come on and slag off Man City. Go figure. Huh? How can you call Man City when you're garbage yourself? But it's typical then. So yeah, I could go through the game, etc., for instance, and everything, and we could blah blah blah. But I think it was a collective thing yesterday, and big up Arsenal, for instance, for being playing well and taking their chances. Okay, but you got to be humble and respectful, and stop bitching and whining like a bunch of children. Okay, so for instance, again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just don't. I find it was just that one off, and we'll move on. Got Leyton Orient Saturday. Then we got Madrid. Hopefully we'll get DS back. Hopefully we'll get 2 midfielders today. For instance, 1, maybe 2, right? And things will start looking up, okay? We are not back to our best, as it were. But given the opportunity, for instance, given time, we will be. It's changing. right? And we will be back. We got 3 players in. More like we'll get another couple of players today, hopefully. What's the goal? The midfielders, etc. And then we can hopefully, when Diaz comes back and Ake comes back, we don't need to play a non-defender in the defending role, right? And if we can stay fit and we can get a solid defence, what's called, for the rest of the season, which we have not had all season, and then get these midfielders in, then we'll have more structure in the squad, and then we'll avoid these issues. The fact is, what's called, you complain about the what's called the 5-1, but Man City have not conceded 5 goals at away. What's called since 2008, and we're in 2025, and that was Middlesbrough 8-1, the last game of the season, right? And that was a long time ago. We were not good. Okay, so that was the last time we conceded 5 goals. It's a game. It's what happens. But we'll move on from it. And I do believe, for instance, we'll go off to Leighton Orient, and hopefully we'll get all the, for instance, the new guys to play. Get past Leighton Orient, and then we'll see, for instance, who's fit and whatever, and get some training done, and then go into Madrid with a bit more positive attitude. We're at home. Madrid's not been playing amazing, okay? And so, for instance, it's Madrid, whatever, and all these, but people need to get more pair of blue testicles, because quite honestly, for instance, I'm sick and tired of the pep outers. I am sick and tired of every time we lose a game, it's that the world's coming to our part. Do you think I'm going to be on social media today? Do you think I'm going to listen to Talk, whatever, Sky Sports, blah, blah, blah? I'm just going to keep an eye on the transfer window, and that's it. Other than that, I'm not listening to that nonsense, because they're going to sit there, talk about amazing Arsenal. All right? They won a game. Congratulations. They had their full-time squad apart from Saka. Saka was the only one. Right? So I'm just going to swipe it under the table and then move on. And then we will be back. Because I believe. And I believe what's it called? Because we were going into this game in a pretty decent run. Right? And our ambition this year is top 4. And the cup run. Right? While we're in transition. We're getting new players in. But there will be ups and there will be downs. And we've got to keep the faith. Got to keep the faith in Pep Guardiola. We don't mention his personal life because it's got nothing to do with us. Right? We've got to keep the faith, believe for what's going on in our club. I saw an MCFC kid back today. If you can't support us, go support somebody else. Don't need you. Don't need all this. Because quite honestly, I'm getting sick and tired of all this nonsense of Pep out and every time we lose a bloody game. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Call yourself a football fan. Call yourself a Manchester City football fan. Right? This isn't easy winning this thing. This trophy. Right? The league is getting more. The Premier League is the best league in the world because it's competitive. Because anybody can beat anybody. And you've got to be on the game every game. But also with the extra games and the teams, if you've got injuries, you're going to have issues. Right? But you've got to keep the faith. Charlie Tango, Whiskey Delta. Keep City till we die. Right? Keep the faith. Keep the faith in your club. Keep the faith in Pep. Keep faith. Right? Because you can't have this nonsense. I'm sick and tired of this crazy nonsense. This Pep out nonsense every time we lose a bloody game. Fight to the end. True Blue Tie. I'll catch you soon.